Shamar.
What's going on YouTube?
Washington.
This is Marty 4 here once again. Hey, what's up YouTube? This is your boy Jamari 4 here once again. Now I know for the past couple of weeks I've been a little bit MIA with the videos, but I tried to mention in the Walking Dead stream. By the way, if you haven't seen the Walking Dead stream of episode 2, make sure you check that out. I'm still working on the audio issues with the streaming. I don't know why it has this echo problem, but be that as it may, I mentioned that for the past couple of weeks there's been some things that I've had to take care of in the personal life, so I had to put the videos on the back burner, but I wanted to make sure that I came back now. We will get back to both Love and Hip Hop and American Horror Story. So we're here to talk about Love and Hip Hop today. I don't feel like I went necessarily play by play, but I just made some notes and some bullet points of some things that I wanted to discuss regarding this episode. Now, we start off where we left off with, of course, Bridget Kelly having this interview and them all of a sudden, well, not really them all of a sudden, but Brooke and, what was it, LaBrittany sort of ambushing her, doing all this other nonsense with the banana and all this other crap. Now, I completely understand where Brooke was coming from. Lord, girl, forgive me, Lord. Understand where Bridget was coming from, because this was booked, this whole vacation, from what I understand, is booked for her album. And she's having an interview to promote her album. Why is it that y'all feel the need to come out here and talk? And Brooke's point of defense was saying, oh, it's probably boring. She's out there talking about some auntie music, some odd blah, blah, blah. I'm like, bitch, is this supposed to be your friend? Because I was watching Rocks, and I think she's pretty much said it. Well, she talked about both Brooke and Paris. Both of them are really annoying, honestly. Like, whenever they're on the screen, we're usually frustrated with whatever dumbness is coming out of their mouth, or whatever just random crap and messiness that they're doing unnecessarily. And Brooke, in this particular scene, baby, I would have been pissed too. Like, I completely understood where Bridget was coming from. Like, what do you think this is? Like, if I didn't ask you to come out there and bombard my interview, how are you gonna sit here and try to justify it, say that you were helping me? I think the fuck not. And then, like, she put them on the spot, asking LaBrittany to open up for her. And then, of course, while she's on the air in the middle, you know, in this interview, she's not gonna want to say no, because it would make her look even worse than probably what she looks now. But, like, she felt really annoyed. And then Brooke and Nikki are trying to make it seem like it was okay. I'm like, what the fuck? This is... Baby, it would have been me and you, Brooke. I'm sorry. No. And then, of course, the bloggers, they too were being messy, because they said they were asking to see Tierra's sex tape, bringing her over there, trying to get some extra clicks. Now, I will say is that Nikki did have a small point to where, I guess, whoever Bridget's publicist or whatever the team member is called that booked with these particular messy bloggers, they are partially to blame. However, it didn't get messy until Brooke inserted herself. Brooke and LaBrittany inserted themselves into it. It didn't get messy up until that point. Now, we don't know where the interview could have gone, or how they would have tried to maybe bring Tierra into it, or what have you, but all we know is up until that point, it was going fine. Up until that point, she was talking about her album. I was told to actually check out her album. I haven't gotten to it yet, but I think I might actually go ahead and check it out. But then, after that whole process is done, Tierra comes back, and Tierra, they tell the interviewers, I guess, K. Michelle was doing a live video, and Akbar was in the video, or on the live video comments, talking with her. And so now Tierra is mad at K. Michelle, but not only K. Michelle, she's also mad at Moniece by proxy. And I'm like, well wait, TT. K. Michelle was having her own live video to engage with her followers. And from the clip that they showed, Akbar was in the comments, and all she said was, oh, whatever it was, you releasing sex tapes or whatever, and she laughed. Like, I mean, I don't really think it was flirting. Like, he inserted himself into her comments on her live. So why are you mad at Kay for responding or like they're not having sex or anything? So I was confused as to why she was so upset with Kay, but at the same time, even more confused why she was upset with Moniece, because she's like, well, that's your friend. You didn't say this, that, and the fourth to her, and blah, blah, blah. Listen. And I've had this situation in the past, way back in high school, where it was a group of friends, mainly 3 of us. All 3 of us were friends. And 2 of them fell out with each other, okay? And one of them tried to tell me that I can't be friends with them anymore. Well, I can't be friends with the other person anymore because they're no longer friends. That's not how that works with me. I have my own separate relationship with each individual within a group of people, or friends in particular. If 2 people in the group fall out, that ain't got nothing to do with my relationship with the person, okay? And if you try to, you know, pull some stuff like, oh, if you hang with them, then you're not cool with me, bye. Because anybody that's that childish, I don't need to be friends with, no way. Now, unless they've done something so horrific to you that it's just unforgivable to me, I don't see why I can just hang with them and hang with you, not talk about this person with this person, not talk about that person with this person, and keep it separate. So I was annoyed how they were trying to blame Moniece, and she said at first, like, why are people getting on me on what a grown woman and another grown man did? Like, I have nothing to do with this. So that part was frustrating. Next I wanted to talk about Apple's therapy session with her dad. I mean, this is honestly pretty straightforward and has shown up many, many times in many different cases where if a father is not in his daughter's life, he looks for that type of love and affection from male figures through dating men. And a lot of times, because she didn't have a dad to properly show him how a man is supposed to really treat you and show you love and affection, that if a guy, a fuckboy, will come along and show her that bullshit love, like that abusive stuff, she'll take that as, oh, but I'm getting attention, and she'll, you know, take that. And it's not, and if you just had a father just kind of show you, like, this is not okay, this is how you're supposed to be treated, she wouldn't tolerate that, you know? And of course, just being in the system, a lot of people who were adopted and put in the system have trust issues, they have abandonment issues. It's just like how she said she never knew her dad, but she wanted to seek out her father, and even after she found him, she still had a barrier up because she still didn't trust him, but yet she still wanted answers. So it's a very, you know, tumultuous thing that goes on in a person's brain who's been through that situation. It's like where I don't know where it's safe to be vulnerable, so to speak. And so I'm glad they showed this, and I think it was a pretty good solution to where she said, well, I'm trying to reach out to her and I'm trying to be full-time dad, this, that, and the fourth. And she's saying, well, just seeing him and being around him is awkward and I don't feel comfortable. So the therapist suggests, well, maybe you shouldn't engage as much because you're still considered sort of a trigger at this point. So you should be a part-time dad where you may reach out every now and then just so that she doesn't feel completely abandoned again, but you're not overwhelming her with your presence because it's not in the most comfortable place. And I'm like, that's a good idea. I approve of that. I approve of that. So I like that scene with Apple. Next I'm going to talk about, well, actually, let me just go ahead and finish up with the girls and their trip. Again, Brooke, I don't understand her this particular season as being abnormally messy. And other people are sort of seeing it too, where they want to play this game of Never Have I Ever. And those of you who have never played Never Have I Ever, it is something that most people engage with, like in college or young adulthood. It's a place where basically people trying to spill all their tea, or people trying to find out everybody's tea. You can lie if you want to, but you know what it is, it takes the fun out of it. But she says, oh, never have I ever, well, who said something else? Somebody said something first. Oh, about sucking toes or something? Somebody said, never have I ever sucked a man's toes. And Brooke was like, look, I had to do what I had to do to get my son. or whatever. She said something crazy, and I guess they tried to shame her or whatever. And so she took that as an opportunity to send a jab. Said, "Oh, never have I ever slept with Solo Lucci," basically pointing at Nikki. And Nikki was just like, "Well, why are you looking at me?" And I'm just like, is she trying to make it seem like, I guess, them being together is bad? Because, I mean, whatever. I don't remember anything particularly bad about Solo Lucci at this moment. So, I mean, if they're dating or if they fucking, who, I mean, Nikki's not with anybody, so what's the problem? That was very confusing. And ever since then, Nikki's just been like, off. Like, that just kind of threw her off her game, and she just was not with it for the rest of the trip, so she ended up leaving. But I was just like, Brooke, what was that about? Can somebody come to clear that up for me? Because I was so confused as to why Brooke she ruined Bridget's wedding, child. She ruined Bridget's interview. She's shading people out of the goddamn blue sky. And I'm like, what is going on? And I'm glad that Monique sort of brought up, like, I don't understand this whole dynamic here, because it's like we go for the jugular, so it makes it hard to know who we're actually friends with and who we're not, because of the things that we say to one another, but yet we call each other friends. That don't add up. So I can feel her with that. Now, quickly, we're gonna move to Ray J and this. Okay, first of all, congratulations to Ray J on the birth of his first child, Melody Love Norwood. They had a beautiful baby girl not too long ago, and he's a new father, so he meets up with Rockstar of all people, Lord Jesus. And I don't think we knew that Rockstar was a dad up until this point, but he wants to start like a, what did he call it? Father Figure Friday of him, Marcus, Solo Lucci, and it was going to be A1, but now he said, well, they done got into it, they don't have beef, and they don't know if it's really A1's child that Lyric is having, and blah, blah, blah. So he wants to replace A1 with Rockstar. And I'm like, Ray J just, he forever, and I don't know if this will ever change with time, but he just exudes corniness. And it makes me sad because I love his sister so much. I love his sister so much that it's just like, my God, the two of them sometimes are just not quite right. Hey! Making all that damn noise. Shit. Trying to record. Anyway. So I appreciated that when Ray brought Ray brought Rockstar into the group with Solo Lucci and them, Marcus really wasn't with it, because you're not really supposed to treat your boy like that. And then Rockstar coming into the group talking about how he done slept with Lyrica, referring to her like a ride and doing all this other corny stuff. Ray J hopping in on it, and it's just like, this is not some shit that I really want to be a part of, because I feel like I'm a fake friend. You know, me and A1, we still boys. And Solo Lucci kind of feels the same way, but Marcus was a little bit more visibly annoyed by it and was like, look, I'm just going to race cars because I'm not really want to be a part of this. And I'm like, applaud for Marcus for being a real friend and not participating in the bullshit. Because for real, like, Ray J up there hopping on and just making all these jokes and these sounds about your friend's wife, and you just entertaining this, and y'all supposed to be boys. I mean, yeah, okay, we fell out, friends fall out, it happens. You can imagine, I was about to say Safari, child. A1 being a little on edge because everybody's talking to him about his wife, and Safari, he just had this run-in with Safari, and, you know, it's understandable that he's a little, you know, testy. So the fact that you just ready to just axe him out just because of the fact that you did cause that situation, you were the one that brought Safari to the table in the first place, Ray J. You knew of the bullshit that was going on, and you didn't say nothing, and you mad at A1 for reacting the way that he did? Fuck you, okay? For real. Anyways, off of that and on to the last part of this. And I'm glad I managed to get in this review not as long as it should, or not as long as it needed to be. A1 and Lyrica plan a getaway on the beach with their parents, well, their moms in particular. And I guess Lyrica G just expects this to be like a mother-daughter getaway situation. And she's like, oh, this is so nice to be, you know, with my daughter in this beautiful weather and this lovely home and blah, blah, blah. So then when A1 and Pam walk in, she's like, well, what the hell is she doing here? And I'm not about to do this with you, Lyrica. And Lyrica's like, y'all are gonna get along today. We are bringing a baby into this world, and I'm gonna need y'all to stop and put the petty bullshit behind you, goddammit. And what's funny is that Lyrica G was in the confessional talking about how she's allegedly innocent in this whole relationship or beef between her and Pam. And she's called me out my name, and I've never called her out my name. And as they pan back to that picnic, I should have called the fat bitch and everything else. You just as guilty as everybody else in this. Don't try to pretend like you something that you not, bitch. We see right through you, whore. So, anyway, Lyrica and A1 have gotten like their own little beach house like down the road or whatever, and they've given their mothers this whole house to themselves. And they're like, you got me 360 degrees of fucked up if you think I'm about to sit here with this whore. And it was just real funny. Like, whenever the moms get into it, it's always entertaining. It shouldn't be entertaining, but it is. It is. And so they discuss issues. They're in the kitchen and they're discussing the issues with their children. Lyrica G trying to say that, oh, it's not right for, you know, everybody to try to spread these lies about Lyrica and Safaree. And Pam is like, well, I mean, I still have my doubts, because why are people saying these things? If everybody's saying these things, then there must be some truth to it. And the thing was, Lyrica G was getting so upset and be like, see, this is the problem. You acting like you believe the rumors, and it's all about that bitch K. Michelle. How many times has Lyrica G said that bitch K. Michelle? Like, she just wants to let it be known that she does not like her. But you're gonna believe the likes of somebody like that bitch K. Michelle over family? Like, we're family now? And my thing is, Lyrica G, if I recall correctly, you've had this conversation with Lyrica and you asked the same question. You said, well, why are so many people spreading this rumor? Like, where would they even get this from? And you had the same curiosity, and Lyrica approached you the same way, saying like, you acting like you believe them. And I believe that she did believe them, but she's just trying to take her daughter's side just because it's her daughter, and not because she actually believes that her daughter didn't do this. So that's why it was very confusing to me why she was hopping up on Pam, because she doesn't believe 100% that Lyrica didn't, you know, mess with Safaree. So then they tried to, you know, make peace. They're gonna try to be, you know, exercise communication and things of that nature. So they get to the beach, and Lyrica G says, oh, look, I have a surprise for you, Pam. Look at this. And they're showing like the ultrasound of the baby. And mind you, that's nice, but you can hear like Lyrica G's voice in the background, and Pam is like, well, you were there? Like, well, why wasn't I invited? And then Lyrica's like, well, I mean, Lyrica invited me, and, you know, you'd have to pick that up with A1, which is true. Which is true. She should approach A1 for inviting because she didn't know. But I guess, you know, she just kind of got in her feelings. And Pam was asking, like, well, I feel like, how would you feel if we still just got a DNA test? And of course, Lyrica G gets all mad and up in arms again. And I'm just like, I don't understand. I really do, in this particular situation, side with Pam because of how suspicious this whole Safaree situation looks. And many people have said like they had arguments and they separated for a while and they weren't together, and then all of a sudden they came right back together, and now she's pregnant. The timing doesn't necessarily favor Lyrica in this particular situation. There's no proof either way, but there are doubts. And doubts enough to where a DNA test would be beneficial and sort of can settle the whole argument, you know, without a doubt. So I would feel like Lyrica G would actually be kind of, you know, for the DNA test just because she had her doubts herself. So that's why that whole thing confused me. I'm just like, oh, girl. And then next week, child, using K. Michelle and P, they tackle this whole fraud thing again. And she's like, fraud, 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 fraud. And Paris throwing the drink in K. Michelle's face. Now, K. Michelle came a long way because I feel like she was about to reach around that table and snatch Paris' wig off her head. But you know what? I guess she's learning. So congratulations to K. Michelle, you know, for being more mature, maybe, but we didn't see the whole scene, so it's still to be determined. But that was Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, you guys. I do want to quickly mention, I really wish I said this at the beginning of the show. I want you guys to also support 2 other YouTube channels that I'm a part of, that I'm doing voice acting for, and it's The Real Sim Wives of Starlight Shores. If you are a fan of the Sims series and the Sims 4 or Sims 3 or whichever, and you're looking for some good storytelling with the Sims, if you're familiar with it, go check out The Real Sim Wives of Starlight Shores. I'm playing the character of Jawan, which is one of the characters, Katrina's assistant. And I also just recently was a part of a new Sim series called Judas Kiss, made by Pixarella. Shout out to Pixarella. And I'm playing the character of Wesley on that show. And it is so much fun. I'm gonna try to remember to upload scenes from me as my character Wesley in the new series on my Instagram. So if you're not following me on my Instagram at Jamar84, be sure you check that out. It also has some comedy videos that I've been doing lately that are really, really fun. So make sure y'all check out all across my social media. All the links will be in the bottom. And yeah, that's it for this video, you guys. Thank you so much for rocking with me and staying with me as long as you have. And I'll see you guys later this week for American Horror Story. Bye-bye.
Like, share, subscribe.
Jamar Washington.